Hello, assalamu alaikum, good morning, khush aamdeed, ji ayanu, goeiemorgen, pakhair ragele, and washmale, junishum me ishpata.
Ishpata! Ji ayanu pakhair ragele, ni hao, churushumme, washmale, ohio, genzaimes, guten morgen, hola, bonjour, privyet, kaifa hal, hale shuma chatore, ahlan wasalan, marhaba, buna, mucho, gracias, swabihab, marhaba, and a very good morning to everybody who's tuned in to PTB World and the Watching World this morning. Alongside the very fantastic, the very amazing, the very superb Shahzad Hasan Khan on a very fine Friday morning alongside the very amazing Shiza Hashmi. Hello Shiza, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, thank you so much for asking. What about you? And may I just mention that your energy is like way too high today.
Really?
Have you overdosed on coffee?
No, I haven't overdosed on coffee, thankfully, alhamdulillah, but I think that there's a reason.
Okay.
Because last night what happened, so I went back home really late.
Okay.
Late means, probably somewhere around 12:30. And then, so I went onto my bed, and before sleeping, I have this habit of watching a few videos on my cell phone, you know.
Course.
So whenever I feel like as if, okay, now I need to sleep, that's the time when I actually sleep. But then yesterday I was like, hey, you know what, Shahzad, you've got a long day ahead, so it's probably better that you do not take a look at the videos anyways and just sleep. So I slept, and guess what? I was up at 7 in the morning, man. And even my mother didn't have to call me, and she was like, hey, you're up already? And I was like, yeah, I'm up and I'm ready.
Right.
What about
That's
you?
a good thing, though. I actually slept around 12:30 as well last night, and considering me and considering the type of jobs we have, Shahzad, by 10:30, it's bedtime at my place. So yesterday was way too late, but yes, we did manage to get up early in the morning.
But there's something
and
very-
alhamdulillah, actually, for us having this kind of work that we feel like actually going to and doing justice to. We absolutely love sharing our mornings with you guys, ladies and gentlemen, and especially because, first of all, it's our job, yes, but then it's a responsibility that we feel like we have to share the right kind of information and knowledge with you.
Exactly. And before we do that, ladies and gentlemen, since we live in the same neighborhood, so I'm going to ask her this question as well. And I know that, we're not going to start on a very serious topic, so let me just say it straight away as well. And that is that somebody, I think in E11 yesterday, cooked some very tasty biryani. And I could smell it. There are things, when your neighbors are cooking something special, you could smell it and, oh, inke ghar lagta hai aaj ke mehman aa rahe. So, did you cook something very fantastic yesterday?
Well, yes, it was biryani, and we actually wanted to try a new masala. It's called Pulao biryani masala.
Pulao biryani.
Yeah, we wanted to see what's different with that. I mean, is it going to turn out something new?
But it was really biryani or pulao? How did it look? Was it yellow?
So the method I used was the biryani method.
Okay.
So I was hoping the masala will change something in it, but it turned out to be
But it
biryani.
didn't,
Yeah,
right?
there was nothing, no such thing as
But
a
don't
pulao
use this
biryani.
masala anyways, because all of those people who come from Karachi and Lahore, they say that Islamabadis, they don't eat biryani, they eat pulao. Come on, man, we know how to make biryani. Don't worry about that. Yeah.
Absolutely true. And Shahzad, where you said that because of your natural cycle and because of sort of it's in the subconscious, right? That 7 o'clock is our time and we have to do it. We just do it. And it's so funny because the routine sort of runs in your mind. We come here every day, we have our coffee, discuss things with the guests and whatnot. And I was probably dreaming of the routine last night, and I dreamt, and I told you this, that someone from the office actually gave me a very sweet coffee. And Shahzad and I don't take sugar.
Yeah.
And I came in the morning, and the tea boy actually gave us coffee with sugar.
With
and
a lot
it
of
was
sugar.
with a lot of sugar.
Yeah.
It was really funny because this is our life now. I mean, we dream about it, we work about it, we prepare for it. But it's all for the best, ladies and gentlemen. So today, what we are going to do in the first segment is actually something, first of all, really close to our heart. We have spoken about this probably dozens of times ever since especially I joined the show. But there's always something left, and because we're always short on time, we can never do a complete show on this.
Yeah.
So for this particular segment, I felt like, Shahzad, because, because of the incumbent government as well, we have been seeing on Twitter and social media, whatnot, that empowering women, especially financially, is something that this government is taking up.
Exactly.
And because they see
politically
as well, absolutely, absolutely, and because they see that equality in terms of no gender discrimination, where if it comes to politics, like you said, or jobs for that matter, or any industry for that matter, it cannot flourish without women and men being side by side.
Exactly.
And if all the women eligible women were actually to contribute to the economy of the country as well, imagine, I mean, the GDP would increase threefolds more.
Imagine. And there's a reason, ladies and gentlemen, because, the women population over here in our country or all over the world is more than the men population. So I think everybody needs to contribute over here. But the most important aspect which we would want to discuss today is that I think that there are a lot of people who do not understand feminism in a very correct or in a very transparent way. And there's a reason why we are saying that, because whenever you come across people and they're like, hey, you know what, okay, so I'm a feminist, that does not really mean that you only talk about yourself. You know, feminism to me is that you're talking about both the genders, there's no discrimination, and there's equality, and there's equal opportunities. I think that's what feminism is.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of misinterpretation going about this very own term, which I know that is very commonly used these days as well. So we're very glad that we've actually been joined by a representative of PTI, who happens to be over here with us, ladies and gentlemen, who happens to be the Central Vice President of Women Wing, PTI, KPK, and she is Miss Neelum Khan Toru, and she's going to talk about this as well. Hello, Assalamu Alaikum, Sangeh.
Walaikum assalam. Tik takim. Tukhe.
Khairam Barabar.
Mehrabani.
Thank you very much for joining us. It's wonderful to have you.
Thank you so
And
much.
in the first place, I would like to appreciate that you took out time to make sure that you're going to join us over here and let people know what feminism really is. So let's get our conversation started, and thank you very much once again.
Thank you so much for having me here.
It's our pleasure.
And this is a subject which you just so well defined just now, that feminism is something which is really misinterpreted and misunderstood.
Exactly.
I mean, when we talk about feminism, it is as if we are out, women are out to get something which is not their jurisdiction or
Yes.
their
Absolutely.
domain or anything like that. But what feminism is, it talks about equality. The way our religion talks about equality, the way Pakistan's constitution talks about equality. So feminism is not that we are better or we are lesser. We don't accept we are lesser. We are not subordinate as a gender. And that is given to us by our religion. Islam was the first religion that gave women actual status.
Absolutely.
And according to that, Pakistan, our constitution is enshrined in our constitution that no sex or creed will get in the way of, you know, allowing empowerment of any kind. So feminism needs to be understood. I feel every person should be a feminist.
Exactly.
And
I
do
agree,
justice
absolutely.
and do justice to the population, because I mean, in a country where 50% or more is female, a gender which is considered to be subordinate, a gender which is not given equal opportunity, a gender which is kept away from mainstream in life, be it health, be it education,
Decision
will it
making
be
even.
decision making, absolutely, in decision making. Because when you see both genders are like two wheels on a bus,
Absolutely.
right?
Yes.
So when one wheel is weaker and the other wheel is stronger, where is that balance?
Yeah.
And the opportunity to be created by half your population contributing as well, even in their households, even to the country, to the economy, everywhere. And with the conditions these days, look at any Muslim country, look at Turkey, for example. Look where that has reached, because there is opportunity for the women just like it is there for the men.
Regardless
so
of the
yes,
gender,
regardless of gender. So these things, and what is women empowerment? Women empowerment is simply giving a woman the space, the conditions to be able to self-define, to be able to do what she wants to do in life, to be able to be productive to the country, to her household. Because when you look at a family and a woman, if it's an educated mother, if it's a healthy mother, the family is a healthier family and an educated family.
Yeah.
Father's role normally is understood to go provide the money, earn the bread, bring it back home. But a woman in the house doesn't have to be, that should be the case for a woman as well. You see, she should be able to put her bit in as well. Let her contribute to the economy of her household,
Of course.
to the payments of the bills, to the education of the children, to the country.
And thank you very
Yeah.
much that you said that as well. And this is what we are going to pick up on as well, that, you know, we really need to forget about all of these predefined roles.
Absolutely.
In the first place, because you
absolutely.
said that, you know, okay, the father, it's understood that he has
Yeah.
to go out, you know, and for the family come back. Why can't the mother do so? And if the mother is
Exactly.
doing so, do you think that she should still actually be paying back to her husband? Okay, you know, that's just a normal question. You know, but let me ask you,
Okay.
do you think, because, you know, we were talking about equality, you know, for a family of four, for example, if the father was going out and he was earning, you know, towards the end of the month, you know, that's how people are, you know, he would give a pocket money, a little amount of money to his wife so that, you know, they can spend, buy some new clothes and whatnot. So imagine if we change the roles and now the mother's going outside, do you think that she should actually give pocket money, a little bit of it, to her husband?
Well, if I ask you this, a question similar to this.
Sure.
If a woman is staying home and
Yeah.
she's perfectly able to earn money and
Why
bring
not?
it home, so where does she stand contributing or sacrificing her ability to earn.
Exactly.
So that the husband is earning as well.
Yeah.
How do you feel that when it comes to life, where is her output which has been taken from her?
Exactly.
And has
Under-
been,
in
and
the
she
name of
has
sacrifice.
under this name of sacrifice,
Yeah.
being a
Yeah.
mother, where is her contribution going? You see,
Right.
when she's, let's suppose
this was a question.
No. Equally, now this is where
Yeah.
I come in. You see,
Okay.
because yes, well, women contribute in different ways. If you look at women within a household, a woman who is, let's say, pretty enabled to carry on a job does not do it because she has the children to look after, or works from home, lessens her hours where she could be earning 100%, she's going on 30%, 40%. What about that sacrifice?
Yeah.
What about that
I'm going to
sacrifice?
come back to that now.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think I've got a very intelligent way of, I'm not going to praise myself, but I think that this is how it should be. I mean, imagine if both of the people, in fact, both of them can work. I think that they should work at 100% capacity. Rather, they should spend 20% of their salary in making sure that everybody or everything at home is functioning really well. I mean, may it be, keeping a chef, may it be keeping a nanny, may it be keeping anything else.
Absolutely.
I think working 100%, both the partners, and then making sure that they invest from their salaries
Absolutely.
to make the household run. I think
Yes,
that's,
and
that's
that
the
is
smartest solution.
equality.
There has to be a balance.
Yes.
So that is the balance. I mean, where one person's pay package is not enough,
Yeah.
two contributing to the same pay package obviously makes life easier
Exactly.
and
But
better.
but
We're on the
where
same
Maggie
page
said-
there.
Yeah,
Yes,
absolutely. But where-
absolutely.
But where you both said that if a woman is staying back, so here's the thing, if she has the capacity to work, but she chooses to, so whatever she chooses, either to stay back home or to go out work, that is empowerment if you agree with her decision, if you let her make the decision. But now coming back
But this
to...
is the predefined
But
role we were
Shazad-
talking about.
but
This is the
Shazad, no.
predefined role that woman has to stay back.
No,
Why?
this is the,
We need
what
to
if she
forget that.
chooses to? No, that's
Yeah.
the thing. What if she chooses to?
That's her choice.
For example, as so I'm sorry if I'm quoting my family over here. My mom loves to be a housewife. She has, mashallah, like a great qualification as well, but she doesn't like to go. She loves a big family. Like she loves doing stuff for the family. So that is empowering her if we agree that, okay, if you enjoy doing this, we'll do that. But sorry, I think we took it too far. Ma'am Neelum, now coming back to the women wing that you are the head of, first of all, I think it's great that you, being a woman, are the head of this, because a lot of women belonging from the downtrodden segments of the society can confide in you. Okay, Miss Neelum will understand us, will empathize with us, because she's a woman, she might know what she... So because you belong to that area, I want you to highlight for us some of the most common issues, not really issues, but avenues where women need to be empowered in KPK for now.
Well, there are many issues. As we know, like we belong to a very patriarchal society.
Yes.
In Pakistan, definitely the culture prohibits, and then especially so in certain provinces like KP. But generally in Pakistan, if you look at the society, a woman is supposed to stay home.
Okay.
That is something, a good woman stays home.
Yeah.
You see,
The
that is
label.
how it is. And then in like a culture like KP, obviously, I mean, we have a fabulous culture, but it's also misinterpreted. You see, it's also misinterpreted and misconceived as well. So women, more or less, in KP find it much more difficult to come out because of the parda system, because of avenues not that open to them. Women in politics especially are not looked upon that highly. As men are, it's a man's job, it's a man's arena of work. So it is pretty difficult for women to come out. It's not an enabling environment, definitely not. And they're most dependent on their brothers, fathers, husbands, sons, whoever it is, the male gender over there, to assist them, to go along with them. But you know, now when you look at it, with all the changes coming around in our political arena, for example, I would give one credit to Musharraf Saab, where he created the 33% of seats for women. You know, he really sort of opened an avenue for women to come out. So now people look at the assemblies and they aspire for the seats. They aspire for the local bodies, you see, and they see themselves there, because I would feel in the last decade, especially ever since the Election Commission's new act, the new law of 2017, giving women 5% general election quota, you know, enabling them to contest on a general seat. I mean, a lot needs to be done there. But steps like these taken by the government or by our various organizations and our commissions and all that definitely encourage this. Because women see a ray of hope that we are going to go and we are going to be sort of, you know, competing with men on general seats.
And that being one part of it, while women will definitely sort of enjoy having that sort of leverage to actually do this now, but I think encouraging women in such a way that fixing a percentage will actually make men understand that this is the quota where women will fall definitely, so we need to trust in them in the leadership positions.
It's more the danda, you know, the danda system.
That too.
It's actually the danda system. You don't give the 5% and you are not qualified for this election. So you see, I mean, such drastic measures, good measures, progressive measures need to be taken to empower women. You see?
Which is important, but I think that I get stuck in the middle of this thought as well, where, you know, when we talk about feminism, we talk about equality, we talk about equal opportunities, inclusive, making society inclusive. Now, what I feel is that, don't you think that there shouldn't be any quota and anybody and everybody should actually be able to contest in the general elections anyways? Why do we have to put the quota in place, making sure that, okay, 5% quota is there for women? I think that this putting in places these caps or these percentages is not allowing us to make sure that we are giving equal opportunity to everybody.
This is the ideal situation we are talking about.
Yes.
This is the ideal situation that we have in front of us, but reality is not so.
Okay.
Reality is not so. You know, I personally believe exactly what you believe. But in our country, the quota system is helping bring out women.
At least they are coming out of
They are coming out, exactly. From a 2%, a 33%, you know, provision of seats in the assembly is definitely encouraging them. Yes, I believe that women should be in the run just like men. But unfortunately, that is not where we stand as a country today. You know, so yes, to encourage that. Yes, I don't believe in reserved seats either. I feel women should compete alongside men. But that is not reality. That is not the ground reality. So to have women in this mainstream, we have to create provisions for them. Even like in the government departments or in the running of the country, over there also there have to be allocated budgets for women. They have to exist to allow women to come further ahead and to be able to that allocated budget should simply be used to encourage women within their, you know, whichever departments they are or wherever they are working. Unless that is there, it is very tough. It is very tough for women to be mainstreamed. If we look at ourselves, unfortunately these days, where the gender gap lies globally, is we are way down the bottom.
Of course.
And we slipped that all the way down to the end 2-3 steps of the ladders over the last decade. So you see, our constitution gives us equal rights, yet we should have been there all the way. We should have been in amongst the first 10, 20 steps of the ladder, but we are way, way down.
But so, ma'am, there are many gatekeepers, which is why, like you said, that this quota should exist. And Shazad, you know, you and I have been agreeing on this very fact for a very long time. And then I thought about it, that yes, it's unjust, but then again, it's the need of the hour. Because then it will sort of also hold accountable the political parties. That this was the quota, kahan hai aapki khawateen, so, which is so important. But now, ma'am, I want you to do justice to this question. It's amazing how the Asas program and even now some financial programs are, you know, digital ones especially, are being set up for women. But where, now that you're in the field and doing everything firsthand, where do you think the government needs to improve the conditions for women in any sector that you think we really need to?
You see, again, it's it is basically an enabling environment. You see the acceptance of women's capacity and capability as equal to men, and like you've seen, the SR's program itself is led by a woman. You know, it's led by a woman, and she's doing such absolute justice to it. So, I mean, I think that is in itself, if you look at it, is giving you, is showing you how well both genders working together can be. Even, I don't know much about digital systems and stuff like that, but yes, giving equal opportunities to women at home, you know, in their own areas or in their own cultural setting. You know, it is a big, big opportunity. So these have to be created and they have to be there. And for this government definitely is looking into inclusion of women. That for sure is happening slowly but steadily. nothing is going to happen within this term.
Overnight.
Doesn't
Nothing
happen
is going
overnight.
to, you have to have a 10-year, you know, kind of a framework in mind that this is where I want to be within 10 years. This is how many women I want to see in this, in any particular walk of life.
Which is why I'm going to ask you that for the first 5 years you were actually the chairperson for the status of women in KPK as well. What were the most stringent actions taken by you to make sure that you're going to alleviate that status?
Well, we worked on the very famous or infamous, I want to call it famous, domestic violence bill.
Wow.
We worked on it. You know, it is so difficult to get women legislations through. You can easily pass about 100 like general legislations for the protection of the people, you know. But passing through a single bill for women takes forever. It is looked at from all angles. You know, our clerical side, our clerical parties, that mindset. Then, of course, when you talk about domestic violence, what does it mean? It means it's basically sort of giving security to a woman within a household. It doesn't have to be a wife.
Yeah.
It can be a mother, it can be a daughter, it can be a maid.
Yeah.
You know, it is about everyone. So, unfortunately, what I came across in 5 years was we started working on the domestic violence bill year 1.
Okay.
It is still pending in the KP Assembly. It has been worked upon, reworked upon, and again taken apart and put together. It is still in the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa Assembly today.
So what are the holdups there?
Yeah, like what?
Well,
restrains you
when
from
I
moving
was
on?
there, it was the religious parties. It was definitely the religious parties. They just, they were threatened. They were just threatened by the bill. So you see where women, like, I'm talking about the most, what we actually worked for the most, and with literally with all the parliamentarians. And yet, would you believe it, even with the religious mindsets, the JUIs, their leader of their party in the provincial assembly, he was working with us on the bill. But when that bill went to the Islamic Ideology Commission, it was put down by their leader, who was Mr. Shirani.
And there's no questioning after that?
There is no questioning. The bill came back rejected. This is un-Islamic. I said, all Muslims have put this together. How can it be un-Islamic?
It's
All
ridiculous.
Muslims have worked on it, you know, and even your own leader of your party, who is as, his mindset is the same as yours, he owned this bill. But when it went there, and the side of, well, I'll call their religious leader or whatever you want to call them, he said, no, this is not.
But what was the objection like?
It's not
to the bill. There shouldn't be a bill.
Really?
There shouldn't be. What is wrong? What is wrong with women? Women are looked after. What is domestic? It doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And you see
Right.
so many cases on TV now being reported.
Exactly.
You know, it's not that these cases weren't there before.
Yeah.
They're just being reported now. You know, that's the best part. At least they're being reported. They're horrendous. Nobody
Yes,
wants to look at them or hear them, because we don't want to own this sect of our, you know, unfortunately, of our system or of our society. It's there.
But people are actually going through it, right? We can just
Yeah,
discuss. But now just listening to
absolutely.
this, it's so infuriating how some people, for their own benefit, will not let a bill pass just so it can
Just so.
be
It's-
beneficial for the
yeah.
masses. Which leads me to the question. Now, you also said this is a patriarchal society, and we all agree with it. It has been ever since, you know. But what makes you have such a thick skin and move forward with your agendas in such a system?
Look, you can't leave space.
Okay.
You can't leave space, especially as a woman. Like, I don't know, I'm sure like now it's a different decade and it's a different area and it's much more enlightened and women are encouraged. But in like, especially sitting here in Islamabad, I'm talking on PTV World with you all saying that these religious mindsets don't allow bills to go forward. But in the rural areas, you know, women over there, it is very, very difficult for them to even speak.
They need a voice.
You know, they need a
absolutely.
voice, absolutely. And who's going to be their voice? Their voice is going to be the local bodies, the women within the local bodies, to hear them, to bring them forward, to make to listen to their issues and whatever is happening to them against their will. You see, so women empowerment is basically, the essence is the same, but it varies at every layer.
Exactly.
It is so multi-layered, you know.
Exactly.
So this is how it is. Unfortunately, when we talk about reserved seats, it's a big thing. I mean, we are sitting here talking about, I want to aspire for the assembly as well. A woman in the rural setting, working in a field cannot even think of going beyond the agriculture, whatever she's picking cotton or she's sowing wheat or whatever she's doing, just enough to bring to feed her children. You see,
and
so,
that's true. And I'm going to add something over here, and I'm going to ask you one last thing before we wrap up this segment as well, and that is that, you know, for all of those things you've said are a true depiction of how things are within our provinces as well, and we do need a lot more education and awareness in those areas, and there's a lot which we need to do as well. But for somebody who's so spearheaded, alhamdulillah, and that you know, you're continuously talking about it, you're making sure that there are other women who take inspiration from you, because we want women to come out of their houses, you know, and do whatever they think is best for them. Do you think that there was a time that, you know, people would actually call you and threat you that you really need to stop with whatever you're doing? Did that actually happen to you?
Yes, all the way.
And then what did you do?
All the way, and I'm from KP and I'm from Mardan.
Yeah.
So, you know, and I am from a feudal background. So it was very difficult.
Yeah.
First of all, to come out in my own house, from my own house. It was something, politics was something looked at as, you know, you're going to go on the streets, you're going to go to a jalsa, you're going to be out there. And, you know, I mean, I am different from my family, a little different. I've become a little different. I have become so stubborn. You know, I have really grown a thick skin. So, you know, unless you do that, and if you just step backwards, a step also, there are 10 steps somebody else would take from you. So definitely you have to stick your ground. You have to be, well, you have to really weather the odds.
Exactly.
Absolutely. So it wasn't easy for me, but yes, I would encourage every woman to, for her right, to stand up for her right. I am not saying that you should, you know, you should bulldoze your way, but no, you should not give up on what you think is right and what is your right.
Wonderful. Thank you very much for saying that, and thank you very much, Ms. Neelum Khan Toru, for being with us, for taking our time, for coming all the way. It was wonderful to be in conversation, and this is the true representation of feminism, ladies and gentlemen, anyways as well, because we're talking about equal opportunities for everyone out there.
Absolutely, and to understand such a term, and then first of all, you know, be the voice of millions of women who don't have a voice, and then do something for them. I think it's brilliant. And just listen to Ms. Neelum over here, Shahzad, how she had to sort of fight her own family to be where she is, mashallah, now. Makes me realize that it's a lot easier said than done. I mean, we as a story, we love to listen to the story, Ms. Neelum Toru being here, oh, she's a politician, she's doing great. But the effort behind that, it's immense. And we cannot just deny the fact over here, sitting right here, that we don't need feminism. This is why we still do. No one is born, especially women in the country, are not born with a silver spoon in their mouth. So just be kinder to their struggle, at least. If you don't fully understand or don't want to fully understand the, you know, concept of feminism, at least be kinder to their understanding in their struggles as well.
Wonderful.
But ladies and gentlemen, right now we head to a very short break. When we come back, we have, well, some sort of fantasy for you to find out what it is. Stay tuned. Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome back to World this morning on a very fine, a very pleasant Friday morning over here in the studios. Ladies and gentlemen, we're headed into a weekend, so today, exceptionally, the spirits are way too high than usual. We're really excited about that. But right now, we're going to talk about something that's really interesting, especially for the children and teenagers of the country. We have had a lot of people write a lot of books and textbooks or storytelling for that matter. But to do it in English and to do it at a level of, well, Narnia or Harry Potter probably, where a series is going to come out, this is really exciting.
Exactly. I think it's about time that we actually share all of these talented stories with you too as well, ladies and gentlemen, because I think it takes a lot of effort, it takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of thinking. But does it? I think that's the question which we'll be posing towards our author, who's over here in the studio with us. The first book, ladies and gentlemen, he wrote is 5 Wishes and the Prophecy of the Prince by Farhan Kiani. We're very lucky that we've actually been joined by Mr. Farhan Kiani. Hello, assalamu alaikum, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
Absolutely perfect.
Long time no seen.
Yeah. Because Khabon ka Shahzada just came to my studio right now as well. So
maybe we have a lot of history.
Yeah, we have a lot of history.
My first ever interview, even before I published this book, when I was an aspiring writer. And I'm glad you gave me an opportunity
and
at that time.
you're still an aspiring writer, and we want people to take inspiration from you as well. And you know, because all of those people, you know, Harry Potter and all of those novels Shiza was talking about, they've made big in life, alhamdulillah. But my first question is not that. Since you happen to be an advocate as well, my question is that since advocate is a kind of a job, it's a full-time job, you have to read a lot for your cases as well. When do you get time for writing when you're reading a lot?
Or is it your catharsis?
I've been literally asked that question a lot of times. Whenever in any TV show or in any public gathering, people do ask me, okay, the legal job, it's very reality based, right? You are faced with day-to-day challenges and all that, and then you can say that this is an escape for me. Like this gives an escape from the realities of the world and all that. So I do. It's very hectic, of course, but even if I can manage half an hour at night before sleeping, it's like you said, it's a catharsis enough.
Exactly.
That's brilliant.
That's wonderful. I like it as well. That you know, and everybody needs a window where they think that, okay, you know, I just have to be by myself. But for an author who's actually into writing fantasy novels, I would love to know what were you reading when you were a kid?
I was glad you said something when I was coming into the studio, said that lawyers read a lot of books. But those are the legal books. When I was growing up, I was very much inspired by Roald Dahl, J.R.R. Tolkien, C.S. Lewis, you know, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Alice in the Wonderland, Chronicles of Narnia. And I remember I was 10 or 11 years old in 2001 when Lord of the Rings movie came out. And that really inspired the Fellowship of the Ring. So that sort of took me into another dimension. I wanted to create something of my own.
That's
so
nice.
I inspired. I want to write my own story and share it with the Pakistan. I want something indigenous that we Pakistanis can call that this is ours.
Exactly.
So this is yours.
And that's wonderful. This is indeed ours as well, and we're going to claim it as well wherever we're going to go. You know, every bookshelf I'm going to go on any airport. If I'm going to see this, I'm going to buy it, even if I'll have it as well.
Inshallah.
You already have.
Yes, alhamdulillah. But now what I'm going to ask you is that, you know, since you spoke about that, you know, when the Lord of the Rings first movie came out, and you thought that we need to have something of our own, very indigenous as well. But, you know, there's always been this debate whether the book was better or the movie was better.
Right? Book's always better.
Yeah, so this is what I wanted to ask.
Because
whether you were disappointed with the movie or you were like, okay, you know, I need to go back to the book again.
No, that
Lord of the Rings was nice. It was nicely put on screen as well.
That is why the duration of the movie, first of all, it is divided into three parts, and each part is like 2, 3, and even the last part, The Return of the King, it's around 4 hours.
It's so long, oh God.
It's, you know, now this book, it's 80,000 words. And usually the span of a movie is 1.5, maximum 2 hours. Like 2 hours is a maximum.
1.5.
You cannot constrict every scene, every dialogue, and constrict it into a span of 1.5, 2 hours. It's physically impossible. So you need to edit a lot of things. You need to show, because movie is visualization, right? This is, you need, when you read something, this is imagination, you create your own. And the first criticism that usually comes when you compare a movie or a book is, you know, when you read this book, you'll have your own imagination. When you read this book, you'll have your own imagination. So every person imagines that particular character in their own way.
I think that
so they are disappointed when they see a cast that doesn't resemble with their imagination.
Right.
Because now our imagination is actually going to resemble the very cover of this book as well. Because, because I think that this have to play a role within whatever we're going to think. Okay, you know, because we've seen it now. If the book was supposed to have no cover, I think that everybody would have their own imagination.
Yeah,
but they won't come down to this point as well. That okay.
Still, you have to give a little bit of illustration to give an idea of how the scene might be.
Yeah, that's what, even for Nicholas Sparks for that matter, before Dear John came in, so Dear John had a cover, but after the movie came out, the cover changed with the faces of the actors. So it's always a thing. But
Illustration matters a lot.
It does. It creates a picture. But Farhan, I want you to talk about how long it took for you to complete the second part. It's due next month, inshallah?
Yeah, it's in February.
Is it in publication right now?
Yes, yes.
All right. Who's publishing it? Let us know everything about it.
I'm still figuring out. There's a couple of publishing
because
companies.
this one was published by 2 publishers, right?
Yeah.
That's nice. So which one?
No, I brought 3 books for a reason.
3 publications?
No.
Okay.
The first book, like this one,
yeah, that you did
I
yourself.
published it myself.
Yes.
It was a self-published venture.
All right.
I published it, I financed it, I went all over Pakistan in different schools, colleges, I made public speeches, you know, everything that I could think to publicize the book.
Right.
So this gave me enough courage, and this sort of made my profile. And then my book was published by National Book Foundation, this one.
Wow.
And the government's National Book Foundation.
Yes.
So they recognized my efforts that this guy is doing, because I was doing everything on my own. There was no funding, nothing at all, just me and my pocket money. And I was roaming around Pakistan doing different shows. Then after this, this book was translated into Urdu.
Wow.
By Alif Kitab, I guess.
That's nice.
And Alif Kitab is Zumaira Ahmed's publication company. So they translated into a book into Urdu. So now
I want to take a look at the Urdu one. Yeah,
Yes,
please go ahead.
Go on with
exactly the Khwabon ka Shehzada. So
5 ख्वाहिशें और दमूख का शहजादा.
yeah. So you know, when you the question that you were asking me before this, when you transit from English to Urdu, so there are a lot of hurdles that you face, language barriers, you need to translate. Plus, my book, as rightly said by the great Shehzad Bhai, it was a povel, right? I sort of, when I described it as a merger of poem and novel, and you suggested the name povel on your own show. So it's a povel. So that the poem things are very hard to translate into Urdu, right?
And to retain the essence, actually. Yeah.
So especially the rhyming. So that part is a little missing in the Urdu. The rest of it's completely.
That's great. But the second part, is it the same formula as well when you talk about a novel and poems and everything? Isn't it the same lines that you already made the first one on?
The Urdu one?
No, the second that's coming.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. It's based on the same
and
idea.
It's a sequel.
It's a sequel. The sequel's name is 5 Wishes and the Battle of the Black Mountains.
Okay.
Wow.
And
so does the title have to do something with the ending of this story as well? Oh, that's the question, bro. I mean, obviously, you know, if we are going to have film stars, you know, working in a newer film, we're going to ask them about a little bit of the story.
Yeah, of course.
So you have to give it a little of it away.
Okay. But obviously, like the prophecy of the prince, you can see the prince now. In the second part, he's all grown up. You know, the story evolves. Like Game of Thrones, where Jon Snow was in first season, he wasn't in the last season, right? So, like this, I even have a name for the third part. It's 5 Wishes and the Dawn of the Wizard Lords. I've already started working on it.
Amazing.
So I have a plan of like 5 to 6, at least 5 to 6 sequels.
And then we go on to making movies, right?
Yeah, which is what I was coming to. Are you also already looking into the industry?
I am.
Yeah?
But, you know, especially when you're in Pakistan, there was this journalist from Netherlands I was talking to, and she said, you're trying to grow mangoes in Siberia, bro. So, like, you know, I'm in Pakistan.
And we should be offended.
No,
Yeah.
I'm not.
Yeah.
The thing is that I'm in Pakistan, and our film industry, unfortunately, hasn't gone, reached that level where things like fantasy can, like Lord of the Rings, like we cannot compare it with Hollywood.
Right.
We have limited budget. The production houses, even if the production house is willing to invest capital into it, our screens are not like, I think there are 84, 85 working screens in all over Pakistan.
That's true, that's true.
So even if they put in the money, they have to see whether it will come back to them, whether
But
it's
do animated,
I think that we're being a little short-sighted over here because, we live in a global...
in terms of live action movies.
Yeah, well, because
live
we're
action
living
movies.
in a global arena over here, and it's not that Hollywood is always going to pick a film from Hollywood or script from Hollywood anyways. I mean, it totally depends on that. If you can go to schools all over Pakistan, why can't you go do a world tour with your book? And imagine somebody picking up your book and be like, hey, you know what? Would you mind if I make a film on your book? I think that's what we need to do.
I have a friend, Patrick Duncan.
Yeah.
I was discussing something with him, and he said, I live at a walking distance from Warner Brother Studios and Disney Studios, and I've been trying to pitch my book since 8 years now, and they don't even let me inside the building.
Exactly.
So, it's very hard. It's easier said than done.
I mean, even
But
Sylvester Stallone had to sell
But
his
he's,
dog.
everyone is not
He was on the
Sylvester
streets for 12 years. You're not going to
But-
give up anyways.
No, we have to start somewhere.
Yeah.
My point is, we have to start somewhere, and in Pakistan, the best scenario for a movie on this book is animation. The reason for that is because in an animation, you have a lot of limited, like you're in a room, you have a lot of room for creativity.
Exactly.
You have animations, you can do a lot with it.
There's a lot that you can do. Yes, I agree with you. But Farhan, where you said that it's a longer struggle if you really want to involve the, bigger picture into it. Like if you want to contact someone in Hollywood. But don't you think you exist in a way better time now? You really don't have to wait.
Of course, this is an age of information.
Information, like you can. So if you start trending on the internet with your content, you don't have to go knocking doors anymore. People will literally come to you. So you have a tool that you can actually use to promote this, and this needs no promotion. You just have to put it out there.
Yeah, of course, and it's a process. It's a long due process. I'm not there where I was sitting once across you. I've come a long way, and inshallah, this will go a long way. And after the third book will be better than the second one. The fourth will be this goes on. So this is how
what
it
we
is.
expect of you as well.
Evolve,
This is what we expect of every other person who's over here on the show, or even if they do not make it to the show as well, ladies and gentlemen. If you have this talent, if you have this longing, if you're dedicated, inshallah, you will be there as well.
Definitely.
But very quickly, because I'm going to ask him one last question before we wrap up the show as well, and that is, so I'm going to read a para, which is in Urdu, and then I'm going to pose the question. So it says, Pariyon ki saza, that's Bab number 1. माना देश की एक नायाब नस्ल के बेपंख परियां अपने हुस्न और दिलकशी की बदौलत खासी मशहूर थी। परवाज़ की सलाहियत से महरूम होने के बावजूद कुदरत ने इन्हें बेतहाशा हुस्न से नवाज रखा था। यही वजह थी कि इनके लंबे चमकते बाल, गोरी उजली रंगत, नर्म रेशमी मलबूसात, झिलमिलाते माना के मोती और बारीक दमकती जादू की छड़ियों का हर सू चर्चा था। Now, for somebody who's actually written original content in English, when it's translated into Urdu, do you think that it justifies?
I
But
did
it
not
sounded
write
nice.
this.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking.
Amna Ahmed.
No, but translation might be done by somebody else. But were you satisfied with the translation?
The translator did a very good job.
Yeah, I
in
liked
this, and but
You have a
it
great
does.
picture on it as well.
Yeah, I kind of look nice in that. So, but the thing is that obviously, like I said, you cannot do justice with it.
Yeah.
But at least it, for me as a writer, I'd love to even give it for free if someone wants to translate it into Spanish, into Arabic. I just want the word out.
That's nice.
it.
That's nice. But very quickly towards the end, Farhan, so there's an image associated with the writers all over the world, and even in movies it's portrayed. So for a writer, because he's so involved in, I want to say, imagination or fiction and in a bubble of his own, that he struggles with maintaining relationships. Is such the case with you?
There's a lot of stigma associated with lawyers as well, but I don't.
Oh yeah, now you're a double dose with
Yeah,
lawyer
yeah.
and a
No
writer.
stigma,
But-
they just don't give credit cards to lawyers.
But
That's
the
a fact.
But the thing is that even I teach at two institutions. I
Oh.
teach Cambridge students. I teach business law to chartered accountants.
Nice.
My students, there was one student of mine who took the book, and she texted me in the evening. She said, "Sir, आपने लिखी है? Did you write this?" I was like, Of course I did. But the thing is that my personality right now is totally different. When I'm in the book, that's totally different. That's another
different zone.
Can
Yeah,
you say
it's-
this Farhan Kyani is the
this
alter
is-
ego of the Farhan Kyani? that
yeah,
we-
even I'm not like that in my books. It's you're in your own world. You need to dive into it, and that's someone else.
It's
The,
not
the,
you.
the person
Right.
sitting across you is someone else.
So probably next time, we would actually want the person who's in this book to be right in front of us as well. We
I'll
can give it
just
a try. Yeah, sure.
conclude in 20 seconds.
Yes, please.
I wrote, I read a script from somewhere. There was a person who was writing when he first met Allama Iqbal.
Okay.
And he was a huge fan of Allama Iqbal. He was like, I want to meet him. And when he met Allama Iqbal in actuality, he was like, I was very disappointed. He's just a regular guy.
Yeah.
So because in the books, when you read them, you're like, he's someone from out of the
Philosopher,
world. But when you
yeah.
meet with regular guys, you know.
Because you can be sharing philosophy with you too as well, man. You were probably the guy was there for a cup of tea. Okay, Allama Saab, how are you? And Allama Saab would actually say, yeah, I'm fine. How are you?
You don't pour out your philosophy on
Exactly.
everyone. You say you're
That's-
just a normal human being.
And that is the true indicator of how people are so smart that they could actually come down to a level where they could interact with you as well. And I would always appreciate that. But thank you very much, Farhan.
Thank you so much.
We want to wish you best of luck as well. And your book is out on which date of
In February.
Yeah.
I'll announce it in a couple of days, but in
That's
February.
not fair, but you have to give something to our viewers as well.
At the end of
At the end of February?
Yeah, exactly.
All right. I hope it's not 30th of February.
No, it's not going. It's not going to be.
All right, wonderful.
So here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen, we always say we love promoting talent, and for something like this, which is new, and which also I feel like, Shazad, should be at one point incorporated into the educational curriculum as well. Like, I mean, we used to read Goodbye, Mr. Chips. Why can't we read this, right?
Yeah.
So this is something we really need to look upon. And are there any aspiring writers among you guys who's watching right now? Do write to us to let us know. We'd love to see your work. Write to us on our Facebook page with the name of?
Well, this morning on your television screens in a few seconds, and here it comes. No, it's not there. Yeah.
Okay, on Twitter with the name
On
of?
Twitter, it's Well This Morning without a G.
On YouTube?
The fabulous repeats go, in fact, on YouTube, it's PTV World,
Yeah.
and then you look for the most viewed show, which, alhamdulillah, is Well This Morning.
And the repeat of this one you can actually catch at
5 past midnight. Till the next time, ladies and gentlemen, look after yourselves. 1, 2, 3.
Good morning.
Good
Take
morning.
care.